Hi, this is Butch Patrick, and you're listening to WithoutYourHead.com.
And welcome to Without Your Head, Benny Chapman, the creature from the Black Lagoon, the Gill Man. Welcome to Without Your Head.
Thank you. As we say in Hawaii, aloha. It's great to be with you guys and to talk to the fans.
Mm-hmm. How are you doing tonight?
Well, I'm doing fine. A couple of months ago, I didn't know if I was going to make it. I had shortness of breath, and they took me in, and I spent 6 days in intensive care. But right now, I feel fine. I feel great.
Well, that's very good.
And it's great to live in Hawaii.
Yeah.
Oh,
that always
sure.
Well, you know, we look at you people, all the weather that you guys get over there. It's unusual.
Right.
You know? But in Hawaii, it's so boring over here because, you know, we wake up, we have blue skies and white clouds.
Right.
And,
you wish maybe it could snow once in a while?
Well, you know, the thing of it is, you know, now you guys get all the excitement. On Saturday, you go to McDonald's, you get a bag of hamburgers, you go stand on any corner and watch drive-by shootings. We don't get to do that here.
Well, I'm here on Cape Cod, so we don't get any of the drive-by shootings here. Not yet.
We do get the snow.
We do get the snow. Yeah.
Well, go ahead.
I was going to say we actually got a caller here, Knight Rider.
Okay.
You're on there with Benny Chapman. Do you have a question?
Yeah, I actually have a couple questions because I am the official Gilman Mark.
Oh, yeah.
He has got to be my favorite horror actor of all time.
Cool.
Well, thank you so very much.
Yeah, no problem, and I hope you're doing better after your emergency scare a couple months ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Well, I guess you got that off my website.
Yeah.
That's the... just let everybody know that's and it's dash realgillman.com.
Yeah, right.
I actually wanted to get his thoughts on, and I don't know if he was contacted you to do it, but in 2008, I think they're doing a remake of the original Creature from the Black Lagoon, and I just want to get his thoughts.
They're in process right now of doing a remake. And the producer is Gary Ross, whose father was one of the original writers of Creature from the Black Lagoon. That's ironic.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy that's directing is Derek Eisner, whose father is Michael Eisner from Disney.
Mm-hmm.
So I just hope that they do it right. What I mean by that is don't change the character, because the Gill Man was not a frightening-looking person. He was just an unusual person.
Mm-hmm.
So we wanted to keep him that way. In other words, he was just unusual. And if you go see the movie again, remember, he was the good guy. They were the bad people.
Right, they're invading his home.
That's right. They were in other words, if you went home tonight and you found 10 people having a party in your living room, how would you feel?
Right.
Well, he's sitting there in his lagoon, and here come these people. And he, of course, we played it as, he fell in love with the girl, Beauty and the Beast. Mm-hmm. And that's how we tried to play it, and it worked out.
Definitely. Are you surprised it actually took them so long to remake the movie?
Well, I don't know how long it's taken them, because, the thing of it is, they didn't even call Julie and I to let us know.
Oh.
And so, not that, there are people ask me, would you do a cameo?
Mm-hmm.
I said, only if they didn't change the Gill Man. In other words, a couple of times they were going to do it, and I remember once they were going to make him look like, some savage-looking thing with 8 arms and all that.
Right.
And if they do that, all they're doing is making Julie and I happy, because our fans would get mad.
Right. Mm-hmm. They'll remember the original as being the best one.
Right. Yeah, because he wasn't a bad-looking guy. He was just scaly and stayed out.
Cool,
Yeah, really, really. Well, you know that we were the first one to set two precedences. The first one is music in a movie. There was a certain thing that they would do when the Gill Man was, when he was near or about. There was a certain sound in the music. Well, there was a gentleman who borrowed. We don't say steal. He did the same thing, and he did it in Jaws.
Right.
In other words, whenever you heard that, you knew that Jaws was around someplace.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they did the same thing in the Gill Man.
Mm-hmm. Which you can hear if you go to your website.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Do you think that added a lot to the movie?
Oh, sure. Well, you see, in my day, I come from the old school, and I watched TCM and AMC all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But especially TCM, I just watched yesterday, Now Voyager, with Betty Davis.
Mm-hmm.
And see, in those days, we used to use music in the background. That would set the precedence for the scene.
Mm-hmm.
Would be done by music. In other words, if you watch Casa, and then using shadows. In other words, you see shadows on the wall or up in the ceiling. But see, today they don't use that. They shoot everything in film, and there's no shadows.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't use music. They don't set what's going on with music. So
it's not as much of a mood.
Yeah, and also we used to make movies. At the end of the movie, it would give you something to think about. In other words, today movies are so direct. You don't have to think about everything because everything's right on the screen.
You're right.
But in our day, it would give you something to think about. The movie would end, and the person would say, "Well, what happened?" Well, that's up to you. How do you think it should happen?
Mm-hmm.
So that was a great thing about it. Yes.
I just want to say, speaking of AMC, you can vote on American Movie Classics on their website for the best monster of all time, and I believe you're up for that.
Oh,
yeah, they're up
to that.
They're doing it right now. In fact, they always keep me abreast of that and let me know what it is. They also have like the Hondo Award.
The Rondos?
Rondo, I meant.
Yeah.
The Rondo Award.
Rondo. Oh, cool.
I don't know if you remember him.
Rondo Hatton?
Yeah, he was he was a wrestler, but he used to work a lot of movies, but he was really unusual looking.
Mm-hmm. The Creeper.
But
he ruled. I love that guy.
Yeah, he was. He was really. He wasn't no beauty, that's for sure. But he was very unusual looking.
What was the other question, Knight Rider?
Actually, before I get on to that question, I have to say something. I swear to God, I was flipping through the channel like 3 weeks ago. I think it was a Saturday, about 2:30 in the morning, and they actually had the creature from the Black Lagoon.
Oh, they play it all the time. It's on AMC. Yeah, it comes on, I would say, about once every 2 months.
Yeah, I was watching it. I joined it. It was about 3/4 of the way done. I was like, crap, I missed.
You got to pick up the DVD?
Yeah, so when you get your Sunday, so when you get your Sunday paper, look for the whole week on AMC, and you'll find the creature about once every 2 months.
Mm-hmm. What was the other question?
I just want to know, do you still have the suit from the movie?
Oh no, that suit disintegrated.
Mm-hmm.
Because it was made of foam. It was made of foam rubber, and after 50 years with the air, it would just be powder today.
Yeah.
So if anybody tells you that they have a suit or anything like that, just laugh at them and walk away.
That was actually going to be one of my questions, what the suit was made out of, how heavy it was.
It was made of foam. It was actually very comfortable. It was like an outer layer of skin because what they did, I have it like a body stocking on. I would get into it like a leotard, except it closed feet all the way up, and the only thing that was open was my face, and they made a body impression of my body, and then they put this thing over it, and then each piece was done separately, and it was simply glued onto it.
Wow.
How long did it take to make that?
God, it took about 2 months.
Wow.
You know, about a month, I would say. But it took some time because, and then getting in it would take me 2 to 3 hours to get in because we wanted to make it look like an outer layer of skin without having creases in the wrong places.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, yep. That was like such a seamless costume.
Do you think the suit in the sequel is a little bulkier? There's some scenes where they say where like you can see the bubbles coming up because the suit didn't fit the actor quite as well.
You mean for us?
In the sequel.
In the sequel, you mean Revenge of the Creature?
Yeah.
In the Revenge, no, because we didn't use any air tanks.
Mm-hmm.
You hold your breath. So Rico Browning did all of the underwater. And the reason we had Rico is that it was easier while we were filming the main scenes on the back lot of the studio. Mm-hmm. We had 4 doubles in Florida who were just doing the underwater. Mm-hmm. So you couldn't tell the difference. And he's only 5'8", and I'm 6'5".
Right.
But you couldn't tell the difference anyway.
Wow.
So, but Rico and I, well, we're still very good friends today. I see him every once in a while. Mm-hmm. And we were what they call free divers, not scuba, free divers. In other words, we could hold our breath 4.5, 5 minutes, or we could go down to 90 feet without any suits on. Mm-hmm. So Rico had to work at about 60 feet on his scenes that he did. Mm-hmm. So we talk, whenever we do see each other, naturally we talk about the old days and diving because we loved diving. And I lived in Malibu at the time. I lived at the beach, so I was in the water every day. And I used to go diving for lobsters all the time.
Oh, great.
What about the lobsters here in Cape Cod? How did you get the role?
Yeah. Actually, I was in the right place at the right time. I was in the contract to the studio because in those days, studios had contractees. And I was a contractee. And I said, if I didn't work, I'd just jump in a car and I think I was going to ask you what's happening at the studio. And they came in one day and went down to casting, and I was saying hello to everybody. And this woman named Johnny Rennick, who was a casting director for cowboys and stuntmen, people of that type, action stuff, she said, Benny, has a studio talked to you about this movie that they're going to make about some kind of a creature that lives in the Amazon? I said, I have no idea what you're talking about. She says, well, I know you're half fish, so anyhow, she said, wait a minute. So she got on the phone. She got off. She said, can you come back tomorrow? And I said, sure. I came back the next day. She took me up to an office. There were some gentlemen sitting there, and they told me to sit, go sit in the corner. And every once in a while, they would look over, and once a gentleman said, could you stand up and turn around, let me look at you? And he said, perfect. So she took me back to her office and said, can you come back again tomorrow? And I said, sure. I came back the next day. She had a contract laying on her table for $300 a week, which today is nothing, $300 a week.
Right.
And because I was making $125 a week as a contractee. Mm-hmm. And so I signed a contract for it took us about 6-7 weeks to do the movie. So I got $300 a week, and a lot of people think, geez, you must have gone a big audition and all that. No. Mm-hmm. I was just in the right place at the right time.
Mm-hmm. Is there any reason why they didn't put the credits for who played the creature in the movie?
They wanted to give the same illusion that, remember Frankenstein when it first came out? Mm-hmm. Boris never got credit, Mm-hmm. When it said monster, there was a question mark. Mm-hmm. That's if you get to see Frankenstein again, the original Frankenstein, mm-hmm. you look at the credits, you'll see monster with a question mark.
Right.
Because they didn't want to give the illusion that there was somebody in a suit, because mm-hmm. then it takes away the illusion.
Right.
But this way, people, well, let's see who's in this suit. And then, oh my goodness, see, was it there? You know, and maybe it was real. You know, of course, it wasn't. But,
right.
But they just wanted to give the illusion without putting the name of a human being up there.
Right.
That's the reason they did it.
Are you happy now with the DVDs? Because you know, you get to do an interview on the DVD, so you know you get some recognition. Yeah,
well, you know, I do shows also. You know, I've been doing memorabilia shows for about 12, 13 years now.
Wow.
So I've cut back a lot in the last year because of health, but I was doing 10 to 12 shows a year, which was a lot of fun because I live in Honolulu.
Mm-hmm.
When you live in Honolulu, yeah, I mean, I have to fly 2,500 miles just to get to Los Angeles,
right.
And then start from there. But yeah, it was a lot of work. But Julie and I, we love doing those shows because it gives us a chance to talk with our fans, you know, face to face. So.
We'll let everybody know that you're going to be at the Monster Bash in June. It's going to be June 22nd to the 24th.
Yeah, right.
It's in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, right.
And you can check out the website.
Yeah, so go to the website, and it'll tell you exactly what hotel it is.
Mm-hmm.
And it'll give you all the information if you want to make reservations or anything like that. And then it'll also tell you who the guests are going to be.
Right.
But there's another thing I like to tell people. We were the first ones to set, you know, that type of a looking character, you know, these 2 legs and 2 arms with a scaly body. Any movies before that, there was no such thing. But since then, you see all these weird looking guys, you know, they look like dragons and all that, but they've got 2 arms and 2 legs.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, we were the first ones to start that.
Was that one of the first movies to really film a lot of stuff underwater?
Oh, sure. Oh, sure.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, sure. Even there were some movies that made underwater, but not the way we did it.
Right.
Not the way we did it.
Rob from our message board, he actually has a question. He wants to know, do you think there's a significant difference between the theatrical 3D version and the flat version on a DVD?
Oh, definitely. I did a show, Julie and I did a show a few months ago in San Francisco at the Castro Theater, and it's a theater from the 40s.
Mm-hmm.
See, when we had movie theaters back in the 40s, they were huge. I mean, they were huge, and they were beautiful inside. I mean, they were gorgeous. I went to high school in San Francisco, and we had the Lowe's Theater. If you went to the back row of the balcony, I mean, the stage was a little tiny thing. So they were huge. But to answer the question, sure. Because, see, the original 3D, when it was shown in movie theaters, is done with a double camera.
Mm-hmm.
It's a double lens. In other words, everything was shot. When they shot it, it was like a double camera. I don't know too much about it. But it's the same thing as your eyes. In other words, if you have 2 eyes, you can tell depth perception by looking. Mm-hmm. If you close one eye, it's very hard to tell the distance from here to there or whatever. So that was 3D was the same thing as your 2 eyes.
Mm-hmm.
And oh yes, definitely the cameras were set up with double lenses, and I mean in the theater, and it's the big screen instead of these little multiplex screens. You're looking at a big screen. Now, if you ever have a chance to see any kind of a 3D movie on a large screen, go see it. You'll see what I'm talking about. Or if you ever have a chance to see Creature from the Black Lagoon, because everything just leaps out at you. I mean, you can be sitting there, but you're going to be jumping here and there because you're afraid you're going to get hit. Mm-hmm. Because it's a human thing.
It in 3D. I'd like to see it in 3D.
You think they'll ever release it on DVD or on tape in 3D?
The what?
Do you think they could ever release it, or they'll ever release
well,
it?
Well,
on DVD on 3D?
They do have a VHS with which is 3D. It's not very good. I mean, it gives you some things of it, but it's not like sitting in a theater with a large screen. And I mean, it literally leaps out at you, because they shot a lot of film from the stage looking back at the audience while the movie is on. And boy, I'll tell you, you see people with all kinds of expressions on their face, from screaming to putting their hands up, to ducking down, So, yeah, if you ever have a chance to see a 3D movie on a large screen, go see it. Then you'll understand what I'm saying.
On the Legacy collection, they tell some stories about you that you used to like to put on the astute after you did the movie and scare some people in public.
Oh no, no, we had a thing, when we had a large lake. It's still there at Universal Studios, and what I would do is a lot of time when they didn't need me, I just go out in the lake and I go swim. I just sort of float around. So Rock Hudson came up to me and he says, "Why don't we do this?" Because Rock and I were good friends. He said, "I'll bring people up there, and what you do, you'll try to scare them." I said, "Sure." So he would call the set, then the set would call me and he'd say, "Benny, Rock's bringing about 5 or 6 people up here." I go out in the water and I get out in the middle of the lake, and all you could see would be my eyes and the top of my head, like alligators do.
Right.
See the top of their heads. So I'd sit out there and then I would watch, and then I could see him pointing out at me, and he would get the people down by the beach, and then he would be pointing and everybody would be pointing at me. Then that would be my cue. And what I would do, I would come in closer and closer, but all they could see was the top of my head. So they couldn't tell what it is. It looks like a coconut floating out there.
Right.
And I got closer and closer until the water was about 2-3 feet, which wasn't far from the beach where they are. And then all of a sudden, I would leap straight up in the air and go, "Wah!" and there's water flying all over with this weird, and the people would just, they would have heart attacks. So the studio found out about it, and they told Rock and I to cut it out because they were afraid that maybe someday some guy's going to come up there and I'm going to do that, and the guy's going to have a heart attack and die. So they said, "Don't do it anymore," even though it was funny.
Right. It was. Oh, we get a call here, Rob. You're on air with Benny Chapman. Do you have a question? Can you hear us, Rob?
Rob, are you there? Rob, I can't hear you. Of course,
right.
I'm in Waikiki.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
Yeah, I can hear you.
I was just wondering if you were ever offered to play the Gillman again in the sequels, if they ever offered the part again to you.
No, they didn't, because I had left the studio. I just had a 1-year contract, and they didn't pick up my option. So I moved on, and a friend of mine, Tom Hennessy, did Revenge of the Creature. And so, no, they didn't ask, they didn't call me or anything. And, when you're working in studios, you go from picture to picture. So, and then in those days, see, we didn't know that 50 years later, Creature from the Black Lagoon would be a classic. We just thought it was some science fiction movie, and in a couple of months they're going to forget about it. But no, they didn't contact me, so I didn't do it.
Okay.
Are you surprised that it is remembered so fondly?
That is what?
That people remember it so fondly.
Well, Julie and I, that's the biggest question because when we do shows together, then we go up and we do a question and answer, and that's one of the questions people say. did you people think that 50 years later? And we look at each other and we go, no, of course not. We didn't think that it would become what it is today, because I would have been so busy every day, and I wouldn't be, say, stealing, but taking things from the set and putting it in my car and taking it home, because they took everything from the movie and threw it away.
Mm-hmm.
So you can see, I would have bought the boat, the Rita.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Oh, I would have bought her in a heartbeat and turned it into a restaurant.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But we didn't, you didn't think, you thought, oh, yeah, it's just another movie. Hey, I got another job, and I was doing some movies or some television shows. So, no, we had no idea. That gun that they used in there, we have no idea. They threw it away. They threw they threw all the stuff you see in there. They threw it away.
Mm-hmm.
And they threw away costumes, too. But, of course, they wouldn't have lasted. Now, had we known, we could put them into something that was temperature controlled.
Right.
And kept it till today, of course.
Mm-hmm.
But we had no idea. No.
Do you collect any of the new things that they make? Any of the new memorabilia? Or any new toys?
Well, no, I don't collect, but the fans come up to me at the tables, and they bring stuff up, and they go, oh, here, I brought this for you. I thought maybe you'd like to have this.
Right.
And because I love, Julie and I, we love our fans. Because we realize we wouldn't be where we are today if it weren't for the fans, because fans are what make you. You don't make the movie. The fan makes the movie.
Mm-hmm.
See? So anybody that tells you, no, so-and-so, he makes the movie, that's bullshit. Oops, sorry.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
No, but that's true.
Mm-hmm.
No. The fans are the people who make the movie. The more fans that come see the movie, naturally, the more popular. Mm-hmm. The more popular the star becomes. So, Julie and I, we have a lot of love for our fans, because we know that without them, we wouldn't be around. We'd just be sitting on a beach someplace.
On the documentary on the DVD, they mentioned Julie Adams having the best legs in Hollywood at the time. That she had.
Yeah.
I was asking if do you agree with that?
Oh, I sure do. I sure do. Let me tell you. Hey, when she and I were both contractees in the studio.
Mm-hmm.
And we're the only two alive today, because all the other people, all the rest of the cast, they were older people already. Richard Carlson was a star already. He came from the 30s. So did Richard Denning and Nestor Paiva and Whit Bazell, and these were great character actors and great stars on their own. So that's the other thing that made the movie. It was a perfect casting. These were great people. But I celebrated my 25th birthday while making Creature from the Black Lagoon.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. And I'm looking at 80 years old right now. So, but they never asked me, and we moved on, and little did we know that it would become what it is today.
Did you have another question, Rob?
I heard I watched the DVD, the bonus documentary part, and it said you mentioned that you had actually bumped Julie's head while you were carrying her.
There's a scene where it's towards the end of the movie where he comes up on a boat and he grabs her, and they dive into the water, or they go into the water, and then you can see them swimming underwater into the cave. Then that scene cuts to where he's in his cave and he's walking with her in his arms. And at that particular scene, the boulders are not really big rocks. They're constructed, but they're hard.
Mm-hmm.
And I couldn't see where I was going. And as we were walking, all of a sudden, Julie started kicking and screaming. And I said, what? Because I couldn't see.
Mm-hmm.
I said, what are you doing? And then I could hear cut. I could hear people yelling, and so finally, I said, what's wrong? They said, you walked into the one of the boulders with Julie's head. So they took my head off because it was like a big mask that fit over my head. Mm-hmm. So they took it off, and I looked at her. She had a big bump on her forehead. But she was a great trooper, So we cut for about 3-4 hours, and she rested for a while, and they patched her up, and they put some makeup over her, and we just continued the scene. So she's a great trooper. And I love her very much, too, because, as a friend, she and I are very, we're very dear friends.
Thanks for calling in, Rob.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Rob.
We should another caller here, too, El Santo.
El Santro.
Hey, how you doing, Mr. Chapman?
How are you, El Santro?
It's pretty good, sir. Thank you.
Where are you located?
I'm in New Orleans.
New Orleans?
Yes, well, we almost became a lagoon.
I was going to say, you guys know all about it.
That's
you got your own lagoon over there.
Yes, we do.
Oh, but I got to tell you, I felt so bad, that you guys didn't get taken care of right away. I felt very bad about that.
I know. We're still almost the same shape. No, I'm kidding. No, I mean, it's taken day by day.
Yeah.
Day by day. That's how we.
Well, hey, you see people, you give them my best.
All right, I appreciate that. Thank you so much, Mr. Chapman.
No, really.
I want to ask the question. I don't know if I missed this because I had a little problem with my stream. And I think it did. The mention about the costume. Was it the same costume y'all was sharing between you and the other gentleman?
No. That costume was tailored. See, they took a body impression of my body, and that costume was molded to my body, so nobody else could use it. Nobody else could get into it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
So I had 6 of them made, just in case you tear one or anything. Mm-hmm. Those things were fitted right to my body. Rico had his, Tommy Hennessy had his, and the last guy was Don McGowan. He did The Creature Walks Among Us. Mm-hmm. But those were all tailored to our bodies.
Were any of them damaged during filming of the movie?
Well, sometimes you'd have a little tear, mm-hmm. from when I would do some kind of an action thing, and it would tear. But so when I come in the next day, I just get into another cut. It would take a little bit longer because when I put the first one on and take it off, when I come in the next day, it's kind of stretched out, so it's easier for me to get into it. Mm-hmm. But when I put a new one on, hey, geez, I got to stand there for like 3 hours while they put it on. Turn it here, make sure this and that.
I know in in Revenge in the sequel they said that I think it was like a snapping turtle, bit off a part of the costume.
Rico loves to tell that story. Here he is down there as the gill man, and this turtle came along and bit the heel off.
Mm.
So they had to go chase the turtle and get the heel back and glue it back on again because he didn't have that many suits. Yeah,
he's lucky he didn't get his
that's a true story. That's a true story.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Did you have Go on.
That's Rico Browning is the one that.
Did you have another question, El Santo?
I don't know if this was mentioned either. How did you felt when with the credits and all that? I read.
Yeah, we went over that.
Oh, you did.
Well,
I'm sorry.
Well, El Santo, the reason they didn't put our names up there, they wanted to give the illusion of like it's a real gill man. In other words, if you put a name, like gill man Ben Chapman, then people read it, go, oh yeah, it's just a guy with a suit on, yeah. But if you see, you look and you go, hey, there's no credits, you start thinking, it can't be real. But it still gives you something to think about. Why didn't they? Yeah. So that's the reason they did. Because I told the other guys, if you watch Frankenstein from 1930, Boris Karloff, he had a question mark. He never got credit either. You'll see monsters in the credit. You'll see monster, There's a question mark.
Mm-hmm.
But when the movie started becoming, in those days, they knew right away that they had a hit. Then he started getting credits. Plus, he was a great actor.
Mm-hmm.
And he was a wonderful person. God, he was just a great man. Oh, Boris Karloff.
Mm-hmm.
He was beautiful. You see him in real life, he didn't look like what you saw on the screen.
Mm-hmm.
He was a very distinguished-looking person with gray hair, and he's from England. And he used to wear these English tweed suits. And, oh, God, he was great.
Were you a fan of those movies before you did Creature?
Oh, sure. See, because I originally come from an island called Tahiti.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't come to this country until 1940. But I used to watch, I love those movies in those days.
Do you have anything else, El Santo?
Well, no, I just want to mention that when I was a kid, the first time I seen the movie was in 3D. They played it on TV on our local, one of the local stations. And they made it like a big thing, with 3D, first time on 3D. I mean, this had to be in the 70s.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember they gave out the 3D glasses,
right.
like in the local stores. They used to call time savers here. And,
Mm-hmm.
that was the first time I seen it, And
Did you see it on a big screen?
no, it was on regular TV. Just a regular.
On TV.
On TV, yeah.
Yeah, I think
Yes.
Pepsi was the one that did that.
Oh, okay. They probably was doing it in different cities.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I was telling the other guys, if you have a chance to see 3D on a large screen in a big theater, it's a great experience.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
Great experience.
I think I've seen Friday the 13th Part 3 on 3D.
Yeah.
Good, yeah. Well, no, that's really it. Thank you so much, Mr. Chapman.
Thank you, El Santo.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks for calling in.
Bye-bye.
All right, gracias.
Do you have a question from the message board, John?
RRM, he actually wants to know, he'd just like to hear some of your memories on the Florida shooting before Hollywood killed it off.
Oh, I didn't do any Florida shooting. That was Rico Browning.
Okay.
Yeah, those were the 4 doubles that I told you about. It wasn't that I couldn't do it. We didn't have any clear water in Southern California. And when they went to look for locations in Florida, they ran across Rico Browning, and then they said, "Hey, you want to do it?" So Rico did it over there, and Rico got a girl to double for Julie, and 2 guys to double Richard Carlson and Richard Denning. So what you see underwater, if you take the surface of the water, anything underneath, that's them. That's not us.
Mm-hmm. Was there any reason why they didn't put the movie out in color?
Well, back in those days, if you remember, they did a lot of
lot.
black and white. Yeah. I kind of liked it in black and white, even looking back today, because, black and white gives you great scene. Remember I told you about shadows? A lot of Humphrey Bogart and Betty Davis, you see their movies back from the 40s and 50s. I mean, they're classic. I mean, you look at Casablanca. I mean, you couldn't shoot it in color. It's got to be in black and white.
Oh, for sure.
Because of the way they filmed it. You look at Bogart and Bergman. One side, they would show her, and one side of her face is shadowed. The other side is lighted. Well, they don't do that anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Today they light up the whole set. I mean, that person is lighted from all the way around. He has no shadows.
Mm-hmm.
But shadows in our days and the movies of our days, that's what went to it. And plus the music, you put the music to it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you want to see the greatest love story made was a movie called Now Voyager with Paul Henry, who did Casablanca, and Betty Davis. If you ever have a chance to see it, oh, Jesus, it's just great.
We're actually all fans here of black and white because our whole website is done in black and white. WithoutYourHead.com.
Well, yeah, you guys got class.
Thank you.
Well, you guys got class if you do it in black and white.
Anything you want to tell your fans out there before I let you go?
All I want to do is tell all of them that Julie and I, we love you for your loyalty as fans, because, you know, without you people being loyal fans, the Gillman would have been dead and buried a long time ago. So we want to thank you very much. And if you have a chance to come to, if we're ever in your neighborhood and doing a memorabilia show, please come and see us, because we'd love to talk to you. Mm-hmm. Have pictures taken with you, and, you know, things like that.
Mm-hmm. Let everybody know the next one you're going to be at is a Monster Bash. It's going to be June 22nd and 24th, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. That's and you can see Benny Chapman, Forrest J. Ackerman, German Robles.
You've already looked at it.
Yeah, we got a website.
And like
right
I say, Dee Akers, she's going to be there. That's Richard Denning's daughter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Kevin McCarthy from Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Let me tell you, Kevin McCarthy is the greatest guy in the world. Julie and I, do you know how old Kevin is?
No.
He's 94.
Wow.
Is he really? Wow.
Kevin McCarthy's been in movies forever. He did, what was that, the day of
Invasion of the Body Snatchers?
Yeah. He was already, I think, 50 at the time.
Uh-huh.
Wow.
You know, but Kevin McCarthy, you go to Kevin's table, like Julie and I, we lay our pictures out so people can choose. Mm-hmm. You go to Kevin's table, he's got a mound. 1,000, 2,000 pictures. He dumps them on the table. So I go over and I say, Kevin, how can the people take a picture? He says, I just tell them, hey, go through it until you find a picture you like, and I'll sign it for you. Oh, Kevin McCarthy. No, Kevin's, I think, 93, 94 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. He still looks great, too.
Conrad Brooks is going to be there.
Yeah, Conrad, my buddy.
He's a good friend of the show. I forget how you say his name. Is it Basil Gogos?
Oh, Basil.
He's going to be there?
Yeah.
Nice. Oh, Basil Gogos, the greatest artist there is.
Oh, I agree.
He did
my favorite creature. Yep.
Yeah, remember the cover of that magazine?
Famous Monsters, yep.
Yeah, Famous. He did the cover. And I'll tell you, the number of the magazine is 103.
That's right.
No, it's 103.
Mm.
Because that thing, wherever I go, invariably somebody will bring that picture, that magazine to me, and say, could you autograph this for me? And it's 103.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. I
yeah,
have that.
Basil,
I have
and and Basil is the sweetest guy in the world. Nice man. Very talented.
Have you signed a lot of those?
Oh, yeah, sure. I make a deal with him. I say, look, Basil, here's what you do. Because he's got a painting of me that he sells, which is really great. I said, here's what you tell the people. If you buy this painting and you take it over to Benny, he'll autograph it for you for free. Because, I do this for friends. We're friends. Otherwise I have to charge them, $20, $10.
Mm-hmm.
But, to help them along to sell it. And they go, really? You mean if I buy this from you, I can get it autographed for free? Sure. So they bring it over. But we all like to help each other. We all like to work with each other.
Mm-hmm. Just want to let you know, we actually have a chat room here that listens live to the show, and they interact with us during the show. And everybody in the chat room saying that we love you, Ben.
Hey, well, I love all of you, really, and I mean that sincerely. But don't forget now, you're going to email me an address and 3 names so I can put them in the mail to you.
Definitely. We really appreciate you coming on tonight.
Well, thank you very much.
Mm-hmm. We keep here for 1 second?
Sure.
This is Betsy Palmer, and I'm not sorry that I lost my head. It's been worth every moment of it.